All right, today we're going to dive into one of nature's greatest puzzles, the Plant Playbook. We're going to uncover the absolutely ingenious strategies plants use to create new life, all without ever taking a single step.
I mean, think about it for a second. Plants are literally rooted to one spot, and yet they've managed to colonize just about every corner of this planet. So how is that even possible? Well, it turns out they have a master playbook for reproduction, and it's filled with some seriously clever strategies.
So when you boil it all down, the Plant Playbook really has two main game plans. They can either roll the dice and create some genetic variety by mixing things up, or they can play it safe by making perfect copies of themselves. On one side of the field, you've got sexual reproduction. This is where you combine the genes from two parents to create a totally unique new individual. And on the other side, asexual reproduction, where just one parent creates genetically identical clones. Yep, two very different paths to the same ultimate goal, making sure the species survives. So, what's the big deal with sexual reproduction? Why bother? Well, it's all about that genetic variety. That built-in difference means the offspring might just have the right combination of traits to survive something new, like a sudden drought or new disease, even if its parents couldn't. It's basically evolution playing out in real time.
Now, asexual reproduction, or cloning, is way more common than you might think. You've probably seen it in action without even realizing it. If you've ever seen a spider plant with those little plantlets dangling off, or a potato sprouting from its eyes, you've witnessed cloning firsthand. And get this, some entire aspen groves are actually one single genetic individual with thousands of trees all connected by one massive root system. Mind-blowing, right?
Okay, so beyond the method of reproduction, we can also group plants by the physical tools they use. And the first major evolutionary split is between the plants that use ancient spores and those that developed the much more modern seed. The original pioneers of plant life on land were the seedless plants. We're talking ancient species like mosses and ferns. Instead of seeds, they rely on releasing these massive clouds of tiny dust-like spores to create the next generation. But here's the catch with spores. They need water to work. I mean, the sperm literally has to swim to the egg to complete the fertilization. This one little requirement explains exactly why you almost always find mosses and ferns hanging out in damp, shady spots, like a forest floor. They're totally tied to the water. And then came a revolutionary upgrade, the seed. A seed is basically a self-contained survival kit. It's like a tiny baby plant embryo, with its own packed lunch of nutrients all wrapped up in a tough protective coat. This brilliant innovation is what allowed plants to finally break free from the water's edge and begin their conquest of dry land. Now, even inside the world of seed plants, the playbook splits again. There are two major clubs here, the plants that use flowers to reproduce and the ones that use cones. And let me tell you, that flower strategy, it was a massive evolutionary win. Today, flowering plants, or angiosperms, are by far the most dominant and diverse group of plants on the entire planet. It's not even a close competition. Okay, let's put this idea to the test. A spruce tree is a type of conifer, which means it's a non-flowering plant. So based on the clues on this next slide, which mystery plant, plant A or plant B, do you think could be our spruce tree? All right, let's break down the evidence together. We can see that both plants produce seeds, so they're both in the seed club. But here's the key difference. Plant A makes cones, but it has no fruit or flowers. Plant B is the exact opposite. It makes fruit and flowers, but it doesn't make any cones. So, did you get it? The answer is plant A. A spruce tree produces its seeds inside of cones, and it definitely doesn't have any flowers or fruit. Those are the defining traits of a flowering plant, like plant B, which could be something like, say, an apple tree. So plants have all these amazing reproductive tools, spores, seeds, flowers, you name it. But how do they actually get the job done when they're stuck in one place? Well, they outsource the work. They call on nature's delivery service. Non-flowering plants, like our spruce tree, they often just play a numbers game. They release these huge clouds of super lightweight pollen and just hope the wind carries some of it to the right place. But flowering plants, they developed a much more precise strategy. They hire couriers. They attract animals with colorful petals and sugary nectar to do the delivery for them. It's really a simple but brilliant deal. An animal, like a bee or maybe even a bat, visits a flower for a sweet little nectar reward,
While it's there, it gets dusted with pollen. Then, when it flies to the next flower, it delivers that pollen right where it needs to go. The plant gets to reproduce, and the animal gets a meal. It's a classic win-win situation.
And this partnership with animals isn't just for pollination. It's for seed delivery, too. Some plants wrap their seeds in a tasty fruit, hoping an animal will eat it and, well, deposit the seeds somewhere new. Others use seeds that are like little hitchhikers, covered in hooks that just grab onto fur. And then you've got the accidental gardeners, like squirrels who bury acorns and then totally forget where they left them, effectively planting a whole new generation of oak trees for free. Okay, so having the right reproductive strategy is a huge part of the story. But a plant's ultimate success really comes down to a formula that combines its genetic programming, its environment, and, as we're about to see, a little help from us. Think of it like this. On one hand, you have genetic factors. That's the internal blueprint a plant inherits, which might give it, say, resistance to a disease. On the other hand, you've got environmental factors, things like sunlight, water, and soil nutrients. For a plant to really succeed, it needs the right combination of both. And this is where we humans come into the picture. We've become total experts at manipulating this formula. Plant breeders intentionally cross-pollinate plants to create sweeter fruits or more vibrant flowers. Farmers carefully select seeds from their best, most successful crops. We even build entire artificial ecosystems inside greenhouses to give plants the absolute perfect conditions to thrive. All right, let's bring all these ideas together with a plant we all know and maybe don't love so much, the dandelion. Now, what's incredible about them is that they often use a special trick. They create seeds that can grow into new plants without any fertilization at all. They are essentially making clone seeds. So here's a final thought I want to leave you with. Knowing everything you now know about the Plant Playbook, how does this wild strategy of making clone seeds, combined with their little parachute dispersal method, make dandelions so unbelievably successful at taking over our lawns? It's just the perfect reminder that no matter what the obstacle, life, finds a way.